I had one guy off on Vidler who told me to get a program called WXCam. I'm like, okay. So I found WXCam. I downloaded it to the desktop, and I said, like, extract, and it did its thing. And then it was done. I'm like, oh, where's the program? And I went to, like, the program menu, and there was, like, nothing there. And it was, and then like I did it through the terminal, sudo apt-get wxcam, and it's like, brings us files, and it's like, these packages are already installed. Do you want to reinstall them? I'm like, yes. And like, okay, reinstalled. I'm like, okay, where's the program? I don't know where it is, how to activate it. I do love Linux, if for nothing more than just the feeling of it being community powered, and hey, legitimately, it's a great operating family. Ubuntu is the operating system, right? But it totally doesn't run my webcam, which makes it kind of hard to use. So maybe the next edition. So back in Windows land, the thing is giving me a blue screen of death. I reboot, and it's okay, but now I don't want to use the camera, so then I update it, and it's still having the same problem. And I said, that's it, this thing has had problems before, it might have problems in the future, it may be having problems right now as I record this, I'm not entirely sure. I'm just going to buy a new one. So I go to Best Buy, and I look around, I look at like the little shelf of cameras, and I'm like, well, there's all the various Logitech versions. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to not do Logitech, seeing as that's the one that's currently failing me. So there was basically there was Microsoft, and there was a company called Creative, which makes it hard to reference them. If I owned a company, I would not name it an adjective that already exists, because then you're always like, my Creative camera. No, it's the camera from the company that is called Creative. It's confusing. Anyway, so I eventually got one of those, and it had already been returned. I asked the guy, it's like in a special plastic bag, and it's like, this item has been returned. And I asked the guy, does this mean it's defective? And he goes, no, it just means someone returned it, and it's like that because we couldn't put the original box back together, that weird plastic thingy. And there's a couple dollars off of it anyway, and you still get your return policy. And I go, okay, so I bring that back, and then I test on my QuickCam once again, see if that's working. It's not. Okay, so then I go to install the Creative deal, and thankfully my CD drive is working just now. And it goes and installs 7 different programs, but I figure I'll just install everything and hopefully that'll work. Well, the software booted and it recorded me, but I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna splice into this video what it sounded like. So here's what it looked like out of the Creative camera.
Because this looks like crap. I mean, I can see my mouth making the words after I make the words. Go. There's like a full second delay. Which actually, in the final product, the audio is not delayed, but it still sounds like crap. Not to mention other weird things that happened when I installed this, like suddenly AVG was gone and Semantic antivirus is up there. What happened to AVG? So I put AVG back. Oh, that's weird. And there had been an icon from QuickCam to update itself, and now that icon is gone. I don't think cameras need to remove each other.
Okay. So you can see I was rather disappointed, having spent another $100 or whatever. That was like $80, whatever. On this camera. I just installed it, it doesn't work. So I'm thinking what to do, and okay, that's it. I'm gonna go nuclear on this. I'm gonna uninstall everything from both Creative and Logitech. And I'm going to go through into program files and delete all the files associated with both the cameras. I'm gonna go into the registry and delete everything associated with both the cameras, right? So that's what I did. And then just this last weekend I got my I returned the Creative cam, right? Got my money back. Thank goodness. Apparently Best Buy does honor its return policy. No real questions asked. Thank goodness. So, after having gone nuclear, I like reboot a couple of times just to be safe, and I got like this random free trial on a system tweaker deal, which included like registry stuff. So like it fixed a bunch of random registry errors. Like, oh, that's nice to have, particularly since I just edited my registry a second ago, and got rid of some unneeded uninstallers, called them. Like, oh, see, that would make sense. I just did this uninstall. Maybe there's stuff flying around. There's something. After I'd already uninstalled it, and then I go to like Program Files, Logitech, right-click, delete. It says, you know, deleting this may cause some programs to function improperly. I'm like, I just uninstalled the program. What other programs are functioning improperly? It's uninstalled. I checked. I went to the add remove programs list. But anyway, so go to go thing. I fixed some registry deals. Reboot a couple more times. Do a couple system restore points. There's another thing. Okay, apparently every time I do anything to the Logitech camera, it kills all restore points previous to that operation. So I do a system restore like every time I think, you know, something weird might be going down. So, like, you know, the first time I had a problem, I was like, oh, well, I'll just restore to a couple days before this audio disappeared. And so I tried, and it rebooted, and it's like, oh, you know, couldn't make changes. Nothing has happened. I'm like, that's weird. So I restored like 2 weeks ago. Nothing has happened. Apparently everything before the camera doesn't work. So it, like, killing my system restore points? I don't know if this happens with all these cameras or just, like, my particular laptop, or I don't know. You know something, if I could, I would just reinstall Windows on this thing, but I don't have the disk for it, and I won't illegally download it. So you're still watching this. I've gone nuclear, as I call it. The thing is no trace of Logitech or Creative Cam anywhere. And I have to wait a bit for the opportunity for my CD drive to be working randomly. The good news is the CD drive doesn't seem to drop out of existence whilst I'm using it. They may just be luck. I don't know. But in any case, I put it in and I install it. And it installs just fine. Or supposedly. And then it gets to the point where it's like, okay, you're supposed to unplug the camera before you do all this, which I did. And installed, like, okay, plug in your camera now. I'm like, okay, I plug in the camera. And then, like, all these messages come up in the lower right of my screen where it's like, you know, found new hardware, yada yada, and it keeps, like, giving you, like, 15 different messages as it gets ever more specific about, like, found new hardware, USB device, found new hardware, camera, found new hardware, Logitech, found new hardware, Logitech QuickCam Ultravision, found new hardware, Ultravision Specialization, found new hardware, the microphone that goes with it. Okay, thank you. It's doing all those, right? So apparently the computer actually senses it, but the software, which is waiting for me to plug it in, doesn't sense anything. After like a full 5 minutes. I'm like, holy crap, I just went nuclear. How could anything be going wrong? So I just tell it to skip the step, and you're like, oh, the software has been installed. You'll need to set up your camera later. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So it finishes the install. I like do a reboot or something, and then I go back in. I click on the thing, and it's like, okay, we need to do the audio tuning wizard. I'm like, okay, and the camera's plugged in, and I go through a couple of a couple of options. That next, and then it crashes. I'm like, dang it! I totally started from scratch here. How could it be doing worse than the first time I started from scratch? Apparently, scratch isn't all it's cracked up to be.